congratulations. Taylor put up a great fight, but Team USA really needed you tonight to win this match. What do you think helped deliver this win tonight?
Yeah, my crowd support on the bench was really amazing. There's a lot of Polish fans in the crowd, so I relied on my bench to cheer, but shout out to all the people who are cheering for me. I hear you.
Coco Gauff just took down Aya for the 4th straight time, all in straight sets. No player in tennis history has ever pulled that off before. While the tennis world was still wrapping its head around that insane stat, Gauff quietly claimed the world #1 spot in doubles. Aryna Sabalenka, who's been dominating singles, apparently didn't take the news lightly. The meltdown that followed? Pure peak Sabalenka energy.
Wow.
Game Team Poland. Game, set a match. Team United States. This is to love. 6-4, 6-2.
And Gauff keeps American hopes alive.
Is Gauff about to dominate 2026 in both singles and doubles, or is this just a hot streak that fizzles out by the French Open? Let's start with the obvious. Coco Gauff just crushed Iga Świątek 6-4, 6-2 in the United Cup semifinals. That's her 4th straight win over the former world #1, all in straight sets. She's the first player ever to pull that off against Swiatek. Not Sabalenka, not Rybaka, not anyone from the Big Three era while they were still active. And she's only 21. Yet somehow people are still questioning if she's the real deal.
Wow.
The head-to-head between Gauff and Świątek used to be downright embarrassing. Świątek won 11 of their first 12 matchups, completely dominating Gauff in Grand Slam finals and the WTA finals, making her look like she didn't belong on the same court. Then something changed. Over the past year and a half, Gauff has taken 5 of their last 6 meetings. The gap went from 11-1 to 11-5. This isn't a fluke, it's a pattern. It's Gauff figuring out how to beat someone who used to own her.
Wow.
The match on Saturday in Sydney got off to a rocky start for Gauff. She faced a triple break point in the very first game and had to save a 4th at add-out just to hold serve. Exactly the kind of start that can derail an entire match. Most players would have crumbled right there, especially against Swiatek, who's notorious for suffocating opponents once she gains momentum. But Gauff didn't falter. She held, settled in, and suddenly surged to a 4-1 lead. Swiatek battled back to 4-4, classic resilience, but that's when Gauff did something nobody saw coming. She won 7 straight games. 7. Not 5, not 6, 7. Built a 6-4, 6-0 lead, putting the match completely out of reach. Swiatek managed to hold and break back once to make it 5-2, but it was too late. Gauff broke right back and sealed the victory. Afterwards, Gauff said she didn't let opportunities slip this time, acknowledging that Swiatek played well in the final games, maybe hitting one backhand error, but overall performing stronger. Gauff trusted her game all match and knew she'd get it done. That's confidence. That's someone who's been there before and knows how to close it out. Now here's where it gets wild. While everyone was focused on her singles dominance, something else happened. Gauff became the world #1 in doubles, not singles, doubles, the discipline most people forget exists until a Grand Slam mixed doubles final pops up on their feed. But for Gauff, doubles isn't a side project. It's a serious arena where she's legitimately elite. And now she's ranked 1st in the world. Aryna Sabalenka, who's been arguably the most dominant force in women's tennis over the past 2 years, reportedly didn't take the news well. According to multiple sources, it wasn't just frustration or disappointment, it was a full-blown tantrum. Sabalenka has been collecting Grand Slam singles titles and cementing her legacy, But Gauff has been quietly building a resume that's starting to rival anyone's, and that doesn't sit well with someone used to being the main character. Let's be clear, Sabalenka is incredible. Multiple majors, former world #1, and one of the most powerful and consistent players on tour. But she doesn't hide her emotions. When things don't go her way, everyone knows it. Apparently, watching Gauff add world #1 in doubles to her growing list of accomplishments was enough to trigger a reaction. The irony? Sabalenka has never prioritized doubles the way Gauff has. She plays it occasionally, with a rotating cast of partners, but it's never been a focus. Gauff, on the other hand, has been intentional, strategic, and relentless in building her doubles dominance. She's built steady partnerships, put in the work, and now she's reaping the rewards. For Sabalenka to be upset about Gauff hitting #1 in doubles is a bit like being mad at someone for winning a race you weren't even running. But this isn't really about doubles rankings. It's about Gauff becoming impossible to ignore. For years, the narrative around her was that she was talented but inconsistent, that she could win big but couldn't sustain it, and would eventually fade once the hype died down. For a while, that narrative seemed to hold. She'd beat top players and then lose early in the next tournament, reach finals but struggle to close them out. That version of Gauff doesn't exist anymore. The player who just beat Swiatek 4 times in a row in straight sets is not inconsistent. The player who became world #1 in doubles is not just hype, she's the real deal. Sabalenka has to feel the pressure. She's still the stronger singles player right now. Her results over the past 2 years prove that. But Gauff is closing the gap fast. And she's doing it while also dominating doubles, making her accomplishments feel even more impressive. It's one thing to focus entirely on singles and reach the top. It's another to compete at the highest level in both disciplines simultaneously. Gauff is doing the latter, and it makes everyone else's achievements look slightly smaller by comparison. The United Cup semifinal win over Swiatek is huge for multiple reasons. First, it's the 4th straight win, a psychological edge that can't be overstated. Swiatek used to dominate this matchup. Now Gauff owns it. That shift affects not only their head-to-head, but also how other players view them. Swiatek isn't invincible anymore. Gauff isn't the underdog. Those narratives have flipped, and they aren't flipping back anytime soon. Second, the manner of the win matters. Gauff didn't scrape by. She didn't win ugly. She won convincingly, handled early pressure, adjusted when Swiatek fought back to 4-all, and then dominated the rest of the match. That's the kind of performance that sends a clear message: I'm not lucky, I'm better. And that message resonates across the entire tour. Third, timing matters. This wasn't some random tournament in October. This was January at the United Cup, a premier team event with massive attention. Gauff set the tone for 2026 by taking down her biggest rival. That's a statement. That's momentum. And it's exactly the kind of thing that can carry into the Australian Open and beyond. Then there's the mixed doubles component. After beating Swiatek, the USA versus Poland semifinal came down to mixed doubles. Gauff returned to court with Christian Harrison against Jan Zielinski and Aryna. She played singles and mixed doubles in the same session and won both. That's skill, conditioning, mental toughness, the ability to reset after a huge singles win and immediately switch into team mode for a different match. The fact that Gauff is now world #1 in doubles while also a top 5 singles player is rare. Very few players maintain elite status in both disciplines simultaneously. It takes twice the preparation, twice the match play, twice the travel. Most players pick one. Gauff is doing both and making it look easy. That's gotta frustrate Sabalenka, who is focused almost entirely on singles and still can't fully separate herself from Gauff in terms of overall accomplishments. Her tantrum, if reports are accurate, isn't about doubles per se. It's about the growing realization that Gauff isn't a flash in the pan. She's a sustained, long-term problem, a player who will compete for every major title for the next decade. And that changes the entire landscape of women's tennis. For years, the WTA searched for a rivalry to replace Serena versus Maria. Then it seemed Sabalenka versus Swiatek would be that rivalry, splitting majors, trading the #1 ranking, contrasting styles and personalities. Perfect. Except now Gauff has entered that conversation, and she's not just participating, she's dominating. 4 straight wins over Swiatek, multiple wins over Sabalenka, Grand Slam titles, WTA finals victories, and now World #1 in doubles. She's not the third wheel in someone else's rivalry. She's redefining what the rivalry even is. The timing of Gauff's rise is also key. Women's tennis has never been more competitive. No single dominant player exists. Sabalenka, Swiatek, Gauff, Raikkonen, and others all have legitimate claims to being the best on any given day. That parity makes it harder to stand out, but Gauff is standing out anyway. She's doing it by winning big matches, staying healthy, and competing in doubles while others rest. Her work ethic is paying off, and it's starting to frustrate her competitors. Sabalenka's reaction shows just how much pressure she's under. She's supposed to be the dominant force right now. Sabalenka has won the most majors over the past 2 years, been the most consistent, and yet here comes Gauff, younger, more marketable, just as talented, and now stacking accomplishments that Sabalenka simply can't match. That stings. No matter how many singles titles Sabalenka collects, she'll never claim to be world #1 in both singles and doubles. Gauff can, and she just did. The mental game is another factor. Gauff has figured out how to beat Swiatek. She's cracked the code. She knows what works, what doesn't, and that knowledge carries over. Beat the player who used to dominate you? That confidence transfers. Just ask Djokovic when he learned how to beat Federer and the dog consistently. Once you know you can win, the wins usually follow. For Swiatek, the shift must be shocking. She once owned this matchup. Now she's on a 4-match losing streak to Gauff, all in straight sets. That's a fundamental change, not a minor adjustment. Unless she finds a new strategy, this pattern will continue. Gauff will keep racking up victories, building confidence, and making life miserable for everyone else on tour. The United Cup final promises fireworks. If Gauff maintains this level, helps Team USA win, and continues her dominance in singles and doubles under pressure, she'll carry unstoppable momentum into the Australian Open. Beat Swiatek, top the doubles rankings, perform under pressure. This is the kind of start that turns good players into great ones. Sabalenka, she's watching, unsure how to respond. She can't control Gauff, only herself. But knowing Gauff is out there rewriting the narrative, building a legacy, and collecting accolades that could overshadow her own, that's either motivation, frustration, or probably both. The reality is that women's tennis is better with multiple players at the top. Gauff's rise doesn't erase Sabalenka's accomplishments. It adds drama, elevates competition, and creates matchups fans will remember. But for Sabalenka, who's used to being the main story, it's a wake-up call. Her reported tantrum after the doubles rankings update says it all. Gauff's ascent is a flex, a statement that she's not just a single star, she's a complete player, building a legacy across disciplines. This isn't a tale of a lucky week. It's a story of a player who's figured out how to win consistently in multiple formats against the best in the world. Once that happens, stopping it becomes nearly impossible. Coco Gauff just beat Swiatek 4 straight times in straight sets and claimed the world #1 in doubles while she was at it. Sabalenka's reaction says everything about how Gauff's rise is shifting the game. 2026 has only just begun, and if you want to follow this evolving rivalry, hit that like button and subscribe.